Chakra Vision ability. This is a basic power of the Sharingan. As long as you have a Sharingan, no matter how many tomoe, you already get this ability. When it's activated, the Sharingan lets you see chakra as streams of energy with different colors. Each type of chakra has its own color, depending on where it comes from and what it's made of. The cool part is, you can literally see the chakra flowing inside someone's body. Think of it like having a pair of super advanced X-ray glasses. Yeah, it's kind of like the Byakugan, though Byakugan is still better at chakra vision overall. With this power, a Sharingan user can spot strange things happening in someone's chakra flow. What does that mean? It means they can tell the difference between a real person and a clone just by looking at their chakra. Regular people can't do that. They can also see if someone is caught in an illusion technique just by checking how their chakra is behaving. Now, high-level Sharingan users, like Sasuke in the Shippuden era, can take it even further. He could analyze chakra down to the cellular level. Sounds crazy, but it's totally true. Let's take a look at the fight between Sasuke and Deidara. Deidara had this insane C4 technique, tiny bombs as small as dust. Once released, just breathing them in was enough to get them inside your body. When they exploded, you'd literally blow up from the inside, breaking apart like you were hit by Onoki's particle style. But Sasuke used his Sharingan to actually see those tiny bombs moving through his own blood vessels. Then, he used Chidori to send electricity through his body, completely disabling the bombs before they could go off. But wait, there's more. When Deidara went full kamikaze with his final move, the C0 self-destruction, a massive explosion strong enough to wipe out a huge area, Sasuke once again spotted something off. Using his Sharingan, he noticed Deidara's chakra was gathering tightly into one spot, right before the blast. That's how Sasuke knew something big was coming. So, he quickly summoned the giant snake Manda and used it to escape just in time. As you can see, the Sharingan works kind of like a super high-tech radar. The user can understand how an enemy's jutsu works just by watching how their chakra moves and changes. By recognizing different types of chakra, they can guess what kind of technique is about to be used and prepare a counterattack. Of course, no ability is perfect. This power has its limits. The more skilled the Sharingan user is, the more detail they can see. For example, young Sasuke could only see chakra in a basic way. He wasn't able to break it down to the cellular level like he did later in Shippuden. Superhuman perception. The Sharingan gives its user next-level perception, way beyond what normal people can do. Imagine being able to see every little detail in a fight. You can notice how someone moves their lips when they speak, the tiniest muscle twitch, or even the way they form hand signs before using a jutsu. With this power, Sharingan users can catch even the smallest changes in an opponent's posture, facial expression, or movement. This is super useful when fighting enemies who are really fast, or use complex attack combos. That's why, thanks to their Kekkei Genkai, Uchiha naturally have better taijutsu skills than most people. Just look at the fight between Sasuke and Naruto at the Valley of the End. Sasuke used his Sharingan to read every move Naruto made. He could predict Naruto's attacks and react instantly, giving him a big advantage in close combat. It wasn't until Naruto tapped into the Nine Tails chakra that he could finally land a hit on Sasuke. But in base form? No way! Naruto was not beating Sasuke in hand-to-hand combat. Period. Or, take Madara, for example. Most ninja are scared of being surrounded. But when Madara came back with Edo Tensei, he jumped into a whole army of ninja like, "All of you are now surrounded, by me." He dodged deadly attacks like it was nothing, found openings, and counterattacked with perfect timing. And keep in mind, that was just basic hand-to-hand fighting. No crazy jutsu, just raw skill and that Sharingan swag. He was just flexing on the whole next generation. Of course, it's not all about having the Sharingan. How well this power works depends a lot on the user's experience and skill. Take early Sasuke, for example. Yeah, he had the Sharingan, and it was strong. But back then, he was still young. He hadn't learned how to fully use its powers, and his body wasn't fast enough to keep up. So when Naruto entered version 1 mode, you know, the one with the red chakra cloak, Sasuke was instantly overwhelmed. Now if you drop someone like Madara into that same fight, oh boy, he'd one-shot Naruto before the poor guy even blinked. When you compare Sharingan users to regular ninja like Sakura or Kiba, the difference is obvious. Sakura and Kiba have to rely on instinct, training, and years of experience to guess what their opponent might do. But a Sharingan user, they can read every movement like they're flipping through an open book. Copyingjutsu. Because the Sharingan gives the user super high-level perception, it also lets them copy other people's jutsu with amazing accuracy. Think of the Sharingan like a high-speed camera that records every tiny movement during a jutsu. It catches every detail: the hand signs, body movements, the flow of chakra, everything. All this information gets saved in the user's brain, almost like they just downloaded a full tutorial video. And later, they can replay it and use the jutsu themselves, like they've known it all along. Yeah, I know, not every jutsu can be copied. Sharingan can't copy techniques that are based on bloodline abilities, or certain nature transformations the user hasn't trained in. So no, you can't just copy Hashirama's wood style, or Haku's ice release. You still need the genetics and training for that. And when we talk about copying jutsu, we have to mention the one and only Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja. This guy copied over 1,000 jutsu and made them part of his personal arsenal. He's the ultimate proof of how OP this ability can be when used right. Remember the legendary bridge fight with Zabuza? What did Kakashi do? He perfectly copied Zabuza's water dragon jutsu at the exact same time Zabuza was casting it. And this jutsu isn't simple either. It takes 44 hand signs, and Zabuza did it at super speed. That's how fast and accurate the Sharingan can be. Sasuke also copied Lee's taijutsu and adapted it to match his own body. That shows us something big. Sharingan users don't just copy moves. They can tweak, improve, and create their own versions based on what they saw. From a strategy point of view, having a Sharingan is like having the ultimate study tool. Normal ninja have to train for months or even years to master a new technique. But a Sharingan user, they can pick it up after watching it just once. Of course, copying a jutsu doesn't mean you can use it perfectly right away. You still need enough chakra, stamina, and the basic skills to pull it off. For example, if a ninja has low chakra, they can't use high-level jutsu even if they know how it works. And if a technique needs serious physical strength, but your body can't keep up, it won't work as well either. Looking at the bigger picture, this copying ability basically turns Sharingan users into walking libraries of battle techniques. The more they fight, the more jutsu they collect. That's why the Uchiha clan was so strong back in the Warring States era. They weren't just strong because of raw power. They kept learning and adapting in every battle. That's also why only the Uchiha could truly stand toe-to-toe with the Senju clan back then. Broken Genjutsu. At a higher level, once an Uchiha grows up and trains enough with their Sharingan, they unlock a scary ability. They can trap or control an enemy with just eye contact. Yes, they can end a fight just by looking at someone. This genjutsu comes in different levels, and that's what makes it so terrifying. At the lightest level, the Sharingan can suggest thoughts or actions to the enemy. For example, Kakashi used this on Zabuza, confusing him during their fight. But at a higher level, this becomes total control. Remember when Itachi faced Orochimaru? With just one look, Itachi shut him down completely. Orochimaru couldn't even move, and he lost an arm in seconds. Sasuke also used it in some moments. He scared Sai so hard with just a glance that Sai fell down. He even entered Naruto's mind and faced Kurama directly. And when we talk about top-tier Uchiha like Obito and Madara, they went beyond human limits, controlling the Nine Tails itself and using it to attack Konoha. That's total domination. And honestly, this is just a quick summary. There are so many epic genjutsu moments from the Sharingan across the whole series. We'd be here all day if I listed them all. See? Instead of wasting chakra on a long fight, why not just end it in the first second, just by making eye contact with your opponent? Well, not everyone's an Uchiha. The illusion powers of the Sharingan create insane mental pressure. Just knowing your enemy has a Sharingan is enough to mess with your head. Some ninjas completely changed their whole fighting style because of it. Tobirama shut his eyes the second Izuna turned his Sharingan on. And Deidara had to train his eyes just to avoid getting caught in a genjutsu trap. In the world of jutsu, genjutsu is in a league of its own. It's just too overpowered. And when you've got a Sharingan, yeah, you're officially playing in the big leagues. Izanagi and Izanami. Yeah, they're both genjutsu, but they're on a whole other level. These two are so broken, they deserve their own category. Let's start with Izanagi. The concept is kinda simple. Instead of controlling a person, you're controlling reality itself. When a ninja uses Izanagi, they're basically telling the universe, yeah, that death you just saw didn't happen. Rewrite that. And boom, reality literally gets rewritten. Yeah, that's the power of a god. But you can do this with a basic Sharingan. Yup, a regular old 3 tomoe Sharingan. Everything I've been talking about so far, all just from that. But this kind of power comes with a massive price. Every time you use Izanagi, the Sharingan eye that casts it goes blind. One use and one eye gone. The most insane example of this, the brutal fight between Danzo and Sasuke. Danzo literally had a whole collection of Sharingan implanted in his arm, like a dozen of them, plus a sprinkle of first Hokage cells for good measure. Now, imagine being Sasuke. Every time he thought he'd finally killed Danzo, poof, the old man just came back like nothing happened. Sasuke had to waste a ton of chakra and time just to figure out what the hell was going on, and finally break the technique. Another crazy example of Izanagi is when Obito used it to escape Konan's death trap. Konan had set up a massive explosion using 600 billion paper bombs. She calculated everything perfectly to make sure Obito couldn't escape with his tomoe. But guess what? Obito used Izanagi to turn his death into an illusion. He just erased it. Then he popped up out of nowhere, caught Konan off guard, and finished her off once she was completely drained. And of course, we can't forget about Madara. This man sacrificed one of his eyes to fake his own death, then spent decades secretly manipulating the ninja world from the shadows. Like a final boss playing 4D chess. What makes Izanagi so powerful is that it basically gives you a free death pass. One time only, you died, nah button. It's like having an undo button in real life. And here's the wild part. You don't need a long setup or complicated hand signs. Just having a Sharingan is enough, but even this busted jutsu has limits. Izanagi only lasts for a short time, at most, around 1 minute. So during that brief window of invincibility, the user has to turn the fight around. Otherwise, they're still going down. But yeah, the price is seriously brutal. Losing a Sharingan forever doesn't just make you weaker, it also limits your ability to use other jutsu. Think about it. Most Uchiha only have 2 eyes, right? So at most, they can only use Izanagi twice in their entire life. Back in the Warring States era, the Uchiha clan abused this jutsu like crazy. They kept using Izanagi until they were left completely blind, and that weakened the whole clan in the long run. And that's exactly why Izanami was created, the perfect counter to Izanagi. Unlike normal genjutsu that mess with your 5 senses, Izanami traps your mind in an infinite time loop. It was literally designed to punish those who abused Izanagi. The goal is to force them to stop trying to rewrite reality and actually face it. Anyone caught in Izanami is stuck reliving the same moment over and over until they finally accept their mistakes and choose to change. Sounds like a moral lesson, huh? You probably remember the scene where Itachi fought Kabuto in that dark cave. At that point, Kabuto had become seriously dangerous. He was controlling Edo Tensei and messing with the souls of legendary dead ninjas. That's when Itachi pulled out Izanami and trapped him in that endless loop until Kabuto finally let go. Itachi realized beating Kabuto with brute force would take forever. Let's be real, Kabuto at that point was even stronger than Orochimaru. So instead of trying to overpower him, Itachi used Izanami. Inside the Izanami loop, Kabuto was forced to face everything he'd done, his past mistakes, and the truth about who he really was. This genjutsu doesn't mess with your 5 senses, which means you can't break out of it using normal methods. You can't fix it by adjusting your chakra or snapping out of it with pain. None of that works here. Yeah, it still costs you 1 eye to use it, but let's be honest, Sharingan has some of the craziest abilities in the entire series. And just a reminder, this is still the basic 3 tomoe Sharingan we're talking about? Wild, right? Power of evolution. What makes the Sharingan even crazier is that it can evolve. Yup, the regular 3 tomoe Sharingan is just the beginning. It can unlock even more overpowered abilities once it levels up. The first evolution is the Mangekyu Sharingan, and this is where things get wild. It gives the user unique personal abilities that no one else can copy. For example, Itachi had Tsukuyomi, a genjutsu that let him control time inside the illusion. He could make you feel like you were being tortured for days, in just 1 second of real time. He also had Amaterasu, black flames that never stop burning until the target is completely destroyed. Later, Sasuke had Amaterasu too, and even developed the ability to control those flames. And both Itachi and Sasuke could summon Susanoo, a giant warrior spirit that wraps around them like a living armor. In battle, Mangekyu Sharingan lets the user go head-to-head with insanely strong opponents. Sasuke, for example, used Susanoo to fight all 5 Kage at once during the Kage Summit. That's a level way beyond what a regular Sharingan can handle. But here's the catch. The more you use the Mangekyu, the faster you go blind. Power comes at a price. But there's a way to fix that weakness. Enter the Eternal Mangekyu Sharingan. This form was created to solve the big problem of going blind from using the regular Mangekyu too much. But unlocking it isn't easy. You have to transplant the Mangekyu Sharingan of a close blood relative. Madara was the first to do this by taking the eyes of his brother, Izuna. Later, Sasuke followed the same path by transplanting Itachi's eyes after his death. And the upgrade? Massive. With the Eternal Mangekyu, the risk of blindness is gone. You can now use powerful jutsu like Amaterasu or Susanoo as much as your chakra allows. No need to worry about going blind anymore. Plus, your Susanoo becomes stronger and more complete, with insane durability and power. Madara, with this form, was able to fight off an entire Ninja Alliance army by himself, and he wasn't even breaking a sweat. Now for the final evolution, the Rinnegan. This isn't a normal upgrade. It's not something the Sharingan can evolve into naturally. You need to combine the chakra of Indra and Asura, or be blessed directly by the Sage of Six Paths himself. Madara spent most of his life trying to achieve this. In the end, he got the Rinnegan by implanting Hashirama's DNA into his body. Sasuke was luckier. He got his Rinnegan straight from Hagoromo during the final battle against Kaguya. And the Rinnegan? It's on another level entirely. You get abilities like Almighty Push and Pull, control over life and death, immortality, and you can even summon the Geto statue, and many things else. Madara used his Rinnegan to create Limbo clones, invisible versions of himself in a parallel world. They hit hard, and nobody could see them coming. In battle, Rinnegan makes you a literal one-man army. Madara dropped giant meteors from the sky and forced the entire Ninja Alliance into defense mode. Sasuke, with his Rinnegan, could teleport between dimensions, giving him a massive tactical advantage. Oh, and by the way, I've already made videos breaking down Mangekyu Sharingan powers and Rinnegan abilities, so if you want the full deep dive, go check those out. If I listed everything here, well, this video would be hours long. Now, that's enough for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.